like the hardest challenges that stick with you till today? Like you sit back and you think, damn, I got through that.
To be honest, bro, and I know a lot of people have probably been through it, it would be going through a breakup while you're working remote.
Te whānau, welcome to the first episode of Catching Up with the Crew. My first guest wishes to remain anonymous, so I can't go into much details in regards of introducing them. However, I will read the email that this person sent, and it reads, I'd love to jump on and share what mining life was really like for me. The good, the tough, and everything in between. I'll talk about what I wish I knew before starting FIFO, what life was like during it, and the mental shifts it took to leave and figure out who I was after. If my story can help someone feel a bit more prepared or just not as stuck, then that's what it's all about. So yeah, let's give them a buzz. Hey, how you going? It's Logan here.
Hey mate, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Hey, thanks for reaching out. And yeah, excited to share your story, mate. You're the first guest on this show, so
Okay, sweet.
let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I came here from NZ in 2010, but I flew to Perth first, and I think I was 20 when I first started in the mining industry. I was fly out, and then I spent maybe 5, 6, maybe a little bit over 7 years in WA mine, and then I got contracted to Central Queensland. Because we were finishing construction and we went into production, everyone was kind of leaving.
Yep.
So I got contracted over to Central Queensland with and then I was there probably right up until the end of 2022, and my missus kind of had a chat to me and just said, I think she could probably see signs that I couldn't see of what the industry was doing to me, and probably I couldn't see it. So
Yep.
she had a bit of a conversation with me to leave the industry.
In terms of signs, what do you mean by that?
It was more behaviour. So I think, once we got out, it was probably maybe 6 months until she kind of broke it down, but the behaviour was when I was coming home.
Okay, yep.
Because we're both fly in, fly out. So we were both in the industry for roughly 8 to 10 years. So we were doing it together.
Yep.
But it was just when we both came over to Central Queensland, I was fortunate enough to go residential. So I was Monday to Friday.
Yep.
And she could just see the changes in me. Probably the last 3 years, just I was coming home, and I think I had, I don't know, probably just short-tempered, I guess, and that was more so as a result of the role that I was doing in fly in, fly out. Because I was in leadership positions for 5, 6 years,
Yep.
You're under certain pressures that a lot of other people don't understand.
Yep.
And it depends, as you know, what site you're at, who you're with, all that sort of stuff. So I was coming home grumpy, I wasn't eating, she wanted to go out and do stuff, I was too tired, didn't want to do anything, and I wasn't like that when we met. So my behaviour had changed over time and fly out. So she kind of just sat me down and just kind of laid it out. This isn't who I met, all this stuff, blah blah blah.
Yep.
I think you should look for something else, and I think we should both leave the industry, which we ended up doing.
Yep.
We both left in 2022. She came back early 2023.
So you're still with your partner?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. So we've been together 8 years. So we just celebrated our 8-year anniversary.
Awesome. Congratulations on that.
Well, mate, thank you for that. So, and obviously, now we're both back in Brisbane, and we both, work, sort of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I think the challenges came for us when I went residential.
Okay.
So where she said, when you went residential Monday to Friday, that's where your behaviour really started to change. Because, it's a totally different lifestyle. When you're in a leadership position Monday to Friday, working in the mining town, and you see everybody in camp and all of that, it's so different to flying in, flying out.
Yeah, yep. And so were your two rosters colliding? They weren't lining up with each other as well?
Towards the end,
yep.
I think I went Monday to Friday. That was all right because she was only 45 minutes away, but it was easier for her to sort of stay in camp.
Yep.
The roads between where we lived and where she was dangerous, so she would stay out there for 7 days, come home, which was all right.
Yep.
We kind of sort of got through that, and then I had to go on a 10 and 4 roster, and the challenges just, I started to see them probably, I'd say, the last 6 months of me being in that industry, I did start to see them.
Well, it's good you've seen the signs early, So you're currently out of the industry, is this correct?
Yeah. I'm out of the industry now.
Well, that's good that you've seen the signs before it's too late. Give me a story on your first time in mining.
I think I was fortunate. So when I moved here, one of my brother-in-law was working for my and he had been working for them for I think 2 years or something like that, but he was drive in, drive out.
Yep.
And so I had a bit of preparation of going into mining in general.
Yep.
So I'm fortunate. There's not as much fortunate people, but because I was prepared when I got to site for the first time, I think for me it was more around the remoteness of it.
Yep.
Because I'm a people person in general, so I can kind of get along with people, but I think the isolation, I don't think people really understand the isolation, because you got 12 hours and you go to work and you see people, but if you don't have anyone to talk to, whether it's on site or off site, in those hours of when you're not working, your mind can start to begin to wonder. So just to be clear, when I first started in mining, I'm not with that partner that I was with.
Yep. Okay.
So on my first swing, I was with somebody else then.
Yep.
And when I went out, because of a few things that were happening back at home with her and my mind did start to sort of begin to wonder what's happening, all this sort of stuff, seeing stuff on social media. So it was important for me to kind of really analyse, am I coming back? Is this for me? And it was more just a remoteness, and I didn't know how or who to kind of speak to, do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people go out there, they try to keep their personal lives confidential, and you don't want to share too much.
And this is in WA.
Yeah, this was in WA.
So in WA, you're more remote, and swings are more longer than they are here in Central Queensland.
Yeah, I just feel in WA the difference between there and Central Queensland, I think there's a lot more opportunity for even roster as well, and a lot more opportunity for residential. WA is a little different. You've got Port Hedland and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of residential up there, but I just find in Central Queensland, even down in New South Wales on the Snowy Hydro project, there's more opportunities to be residential.
Yeah. So a personal question here, you don't have to answer it. Your first relationship when you first got into mining, did that break up due to the job, the roster, the isolation of being away, or was there another factor involved in that?
Oh, look, it was definitely a contributing factor.
And what was your first role in mining during that time?
I was just like everyone else, bro. I was a TA. I wouldn't say scum of the earth because we do important roles, but I was doing everything. So whether that was helping the painters, helping the cleaners, in the kitchen, wherever I was needed, that's where I went. And
then you climbed from there, and you ended up in supervisor's role or leadership role. Yeah, so from there, I think what contributed to me being in a leadership role was purely the fact that I worked on for 4 years. So even though I was a TA there, coming out when that went to production, I was offered roles left, right, and central Queensland simply sort of because of that, and probably because all of us, we can speak to experience, whereas someone with certifications and no experience, it's a lot more harder to demonstrate your ability. I just went from that and then straight into a leadership role, and I went from supervisor to manager to project manager. So I got to the superintendent role because I didn't want it. Wow. So in the span of what's the time frame from TA to your last position in mining? What was that time frame?
9.5 years.
9.5 years. That's impressive, my bro. That's awesome. But it's even more impressive that you seen signs and you knew you needed a change. And big respects for that. It's hard to walk away from the industry. What drew you to the industry the first time when you first got in it?
If I could point it to any one thing, it's because I had family, one already in that industry, and when I went over to Perth, and this is a concept that I shared to all of my younger brothers also, is that when I went over to Perth, I could see my brother-in-law and sister and all of that. They were already in that industry 2.5 years, and the results in that short, time frame, in the 2.5 years that he was in the industry, they had accomplished so much.
Yep.
And so to be able to be, I guess, prepared by them and see them living the results was a lot easier for me to come over and go, well, I can have a similar life. So that's what drew me to it.
You knew you wanted to do mining before you got to Australia, or you decided once you were here in Australia?
I decided when I was here, because when I first got to Perth, I was working in logistics because that's what I was working in when I was in New Zealand, so I naturally transitioned, and it wasn't until I understood my brother-in-law's lifestyle, my sister, and all of their kids. But once I understood the lifestyle and all of that, is when I kind of looked at it and said, I want something similar. So
let's talk about the transitioning. Am I correct in saying it was an easy transition from your previous role in mining to scouting out a different career path, or was it hard?
No, it was an easy transition. I just think the hard, just for probably anyone who's listening, is just preparing for leaving and just kind of identifying what it is you want to do before you leave. So, even before I left, I already knew what I wanted to do, which is go into safety. I kind of already knew that's the path I wanted to take, so that's what made it easy for me. But I think it was coming back to Brisbane after being in mining for nearly 10 years, that was the hardest part for us. It wasn't the job, it wasn't the money, it was coming back to a city after being remote for so long.
Yep.
It was the hardest transition for us because we're so used to being remote that coming back to the city, in Brisbane, it was overwhelming. All the traffic, all the people going just down to Woolies was overwhelming for us.
What were the best parts of FIFO during your whole time?
For me, there's probably two components I'll say straight up. So the first part was meeting my partner that I'm with now, that I've been with for 8 years.
Yep.
That's probably the first part. And then just the people I got to work with from WA all the way to Central Queensland. Like, I got to meet some really good people that I'm still good friends with now. Those are the two probably biggest things for me. And obviously, the skills that you learn and career progression, but those would be the two for me.
And what are some challenges, like the hardest challenges that stick with you till today? Like, you sit back and you think, damn, I got through that.
To be honest, bro, and I know a lot of people have probably been through it, it would be going through a breakup while you're working remote.
Yeah, your mind's not on the job. Yeah, that
was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
That was one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my life.
And what helped you get through these challenging times? Did you have a strong support system? Were you always connected with people back home, or what got you through these rough patches?
So to be honest, I was again very fortunate and grateful to have a really good support system outside of work and inside of work. And when I'm talking inside of work, I'm not just meaning all the people and friends around me that I work with. I even speak to the leadership, all my management. Like, I sat down with one or two of them, and because they saw the signs, they saw my behaviour change.
Yep.
And they just asked if I was alright, and I just sat down with them, and I was just straight up with them because I knew I was gonna go through a very difficult time, at least for a couple of months. And honestly, they were supportive. They said, if you need anything, come and talk to us. If you need to take time off, just let us know. You've got psychologists here, all this and that. So, I was so fortunate when I went through that 3 months of darkness. I had a lot of support.
In regards to new people wanting to get into the industry, do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Probably just to make sure you're going in with a purpose, because it can be very hard to sustain the lifestyle and maintain it.
Yeah.
If you have no purpose in terms of why you're going in there, be that girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, family, brothers, sisters, buy a house, whatever, and make sure you go in with a purpose, because I think a lot of us, when we get in there, we have a purpose, we achieve that purpose, and then we're just in there to be in there, and then, as you know, bro, we're the golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
So, make sure you have a purpose going in, and
Yep.
make sure you have a purpose coming out.
Yep. Because once those golden handcuffs go on you, it's hard to take them off.
it is, the money traps a lot of people, but also to new people going in there, even if you are on, over 150, 160, whatever it may be, just understand that, coming out of mining doesn't mean you can't make that anywhere else.
Yeah.
You can, like I have, right? But it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of systems, and a lot of grit to get to that level outside. It's just a lot easier in mining. So I'll just say, bro, have a purpose going in and have a purpose coming out.
And for people who are in mining and stuck and wanting to transition out, do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Look, I would just say, if you feel stuck in mining, just understand what's keeping you there. So, example, if you're there for the money, can you make that outside of that, right? And if you feel, I can't make it, then you really need to look at your lifestyle. But, the most important thing is when you're in mining and you feel stuck is to reach out to people that are currently doing what you want to do, or even reach out to people that you trust and just start to have those discussions, because like I said, my partner was the one that sat me down, saw the signs, and it took us 8 to 9 months to actually get out of mining and, really have a look at what are we going to do, what's our lifestyle going to look like. But, don't ever feel like you're stuck in mining, because you're not. You just need to understand why you're feeling that way, and just talk to people, talk to somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been consistent at throughout my whole life is being me. I've never changed for nothing and nobody. Be yourself, never change for no one or anything, because you'll continue to wear a mask.
Just to recap, you started mining in WA.
Yep.
You were with a previous partner there. That relationship fell through.
Yep.
You met your current partner in WA?
No, and I actually met her when I done a short stint up in the Northern Territory.
Okay, you met her in the NT.
Yep.
And then you both come to Queensland.
Yep.
And then you progressed through your career, started stepping up, got into a role where you were residential and she was still FIFO.
Yep. She was drive in, drive out.
She was drive in, drive out. And then you both started seeing changes in your behaviour, which ultimately made you consider leaving the industry as to where you are now, left the industry, and you're both in a better place.
Yeah, and I'll just clarify in terms of seeing changes in behaviour.
Yep.
It was my behaviour, not hers.
Yep.
So this was solely just all on me in terms of behaviour.
Yep.
It was nothing to do with her. She's got a strong head, and she's very clear on what she wants. That was me in terms of changing my behaviour.
And how long have you two been together for?
8 years.
8 years. So if anyone, she knows you best. She might know you. She might know you better than you know yourself.
Yeah, they usually do.
Yeah, awesome. Is there anything else you want to share, brother?
Oh, look, I'd just say to, probably to people going in the industry, and, a lot of people have probably said it, but, not everything is as it appears to be.
Yep.
Meaning social media, people telling you all these stories, all this and that.
Yep.
Everyone's experience is going to be different when you're going into mining, whether you're seeing someone who has everything in the world, someone who's been there and doesn't.
Yep.
But, take things as they are, and, have your own opinion, and, have your own perspective on flying fire. This is for the new people that are going in, because there's so much information out there that, unfortunately, people are going in thinking it's a certain lifestyle when it isn't.
Yep.
So try and be a third eye to the industry as you go in.
Yep, because your expectations to what reality is, it's a massive difference when your boots hit the ground.
Yeah, and to people that are still stuck in mining or currently in there wanting to get out, just know there is a way. If I can do it, I know other people that can do it that have been through a lot of challenging situations, and anyone can do it. But just if you're in that situation, just talk to somebody that you trust. Reach out to someone. That's all I can say, because too often or not, especially females are really good at doing it, but we're not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyway, bro, yeah, like I said, bro, take my number if you ever need anything, or if you know anybody that needs anything and you think I can help out, bro, happy to help out anytime.
Awesome, brother. I really appreciate that, and yeah, thank you for your time.
Nah, all good, bro. I'll talk to you after.
Alright, sweet, my bro. Thank you.
Brother. All good, see you, bro.
So a massive thank you to my guest for sharing a bit of insight on their time in mining and after mining. There was definitely valuable information in this chat that we had that will help a lot of people out. So I thank you. If this episode has helped you in any way, or if you even relate to what my guest was going through, reach out. Tell us in the comment, because I can guarantee you won't be the only one. And if you want to appear as a guest on the show, there's a link in my bio. You fill that out and I'll be in touch. Che whānau.